Story time about this girl who faked being Latina. So there was this girl who went to my school. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is the queen of lies. In every subject we talk about, Sarah always, and I mean always, comes up with a lie that has to do with her life. Here's an example. What if we're talking about Tom Holland? She'd just come in and say, oh yeah, Tom Holland is my dad's friend. I met him once. You know, these types of lies. Another one is when she told everyone she's Latina. It was lunchtime in school and we were talking about where we went for the summer. Sarah tells us that she went to Spain and she started telling us on what she did there and says that she's 50% Latina. She also said that she lived in Spain for 6 years. And if there is any person who lived in Spain for 6 years, they must know how to speak Spanish. And then my friend Kayla asked her, what does good morning mean in Spanish? We all know it's buenos dias. My friend Kayla asked Sarah, what does good morning mean in Spanish? And then Sarah looks at us, looks back at her food and said, I don't know, I'm still taking Spanish lessons. And we just look at her that she doesn't even know what good morning means in Spanish. If she had lived in Spain for 6 years, she would have known what it meant. I don't know how, but that incident has spread around the entire school. Every person that walks past Sarah just says, buenos dias, basically teasing her about not knowing what good morning means in Spanish. And then Sarah didn't show up to school for 3 days after that. And oh boy, we haven't even gotten to the crazy part. The 3 days pass and Sarah comes back to school. As soon as she walks into the class, everyone's eyes was on her. She came up, sat in her seat, and this lady showed up to school. So after 3 days of Sarah not coming to school, she showed up in a crop top, skinny jeans, fake nails, and fake lashes. And her hair was in a bun with edges. Yes, you heard me, edges. This lady is white. And in lunchtime, she took out a bag of hot Cheetos and some dipping sauce. I don't know if this was supposed to make us think she's Latina, but trust me, it didn't work. All of the freshmen and sophomores took out their phone and started filming her. This is where I kind of felt bad, but she ran to the bathroom crying, and she just stayed there and didn't show up to any classes for the rest of the day. Story time. So there was this one girl in 7th grade, let's call her Lexi. Lexi was a pick-me girl. She was always like, boys are less drama, you know. And Lexi used to sit next to me in class. And I was throwing a Halloween party later this week. I decided to write a list of what we're going to be doing at the party in class while Lexi's sitting next to me. She looks over at my notebook and sees it. And she was like, I'm invited, right? I looked at her and I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to tell her she's not. She got really excited and was like, I'm gonna be wearing a devil costume. Actually, no, I want to be the angel. And at the end of class, she told me to send her the location and information on her Instagram. And I remembered that Lexi had a lot of spam accounts and accounts she doesn't use. So I decided to send her the information on one of the accounts she doesn't use. Here's part 3, sorry it took too long. So I handed my phone to my friend and let her answer the phone. She told me that there was a person waiting for me in front of the house. I of course didn't want to go outside alone, so I let my friend Jason come out with me. As soon as we arrived to the front of the house, we see Lexi and her mother sitting next to her in her car. I just stood there in disbelief, not knowing what to do. Lexi got out of the car, looked at me and rolled her eyes, then looked at Jason and started talking to him. She was like, hey Jason, do you miss me? Jason, can I come in? And Jason didn't know what to say, but he said yes. And Lexi had the audacity to show up to my party after she blocked me on all of my social media. Lexi stayed with Jason and Jason's friend. I couldn't enjoy my night anymore after that. The next day in school, I told my teacher the story and she moved my plate. 2 days later, I got a message from Lexi. She sent me a message from one of her real accounts. Then she told me that I forgot to send her the information for the party. I told her that I did send the location, but on her other account, and that I didn't know she stopped using it. Lexi didn't believe me, so I sent her a screenshot. Then I told her that since she didn't confirm, she can't come to the party because I had a limit of 20 people. Lexi got really mad and started calling me mean stuff, that I'm rude and forgetful. And then Lexi blocked me not just on Instagram, but on Snapchat and TikTok. Of course, I didn't care and just went on with my day. Fast forward to the next day, which was the day of my party. Things were going great. Me and my friends had an amazing time. But after an hour, I get a phone call from a random number. I didn't answer, number one, because the music was too loud and I was too busy with my friends. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes pass, and that number calls me again. I handed my phone to my friend and let her.
Story time of how I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. So basically there was this girl that literally copied my absolute every move. It all started because the boy that she was dating tried to hit me up. So I guess she was trying to be more like me, I guess. And it all started when I got a puppy. Literally 2 days later, she ended up getting a puppy. The same kind of puppy. Then about a week goes on and I dye my hair blonde. Well, I bleach it. And she dyes her hair blonde. Okay, then the next day, I posted on my story about this app that I was using. It's called Fitness Coach, and I was getting my dream body from it. Also, the link to that app will be in my bio. But then not even an hour later, she posted that she was using it. Then I just noticed every single little thing that I did, she would also start to copy. She even started literally copying my outfits head to toe. So once I noticed that, I decided I was gonna try something out. And I bought a bald cap from the store. And then I posted on a private story with only her in it. Ha, guess what happened 2 days later? I'm running out of time for part 2. Part 2, if I got the best revenge on my worst enemy. Continuing on with the story, after I got a bald cap and posted on my private story with only her in it, 2 days later she shaves her head. So this is the time where I try to confront the girl, because at this point it's obvious she's trying to copy me. And after I confronted her about her trying to copy me, she then tried to say that I was the one trying to copy her, and then switch up the whole story. But for about months and months she continued to copy me, and now here's where the story gets bad. My puppy ended up passing away due to heart failure. And then of course I posted about it on my Instagram story. And that night I was scrolling through who viewed it. And I see her little fake account. And honestly, I didn't think anything of it. It took a little bit, but 5 days later, I see on her story, "My baby will always have a place in my heart. Rip Moxie." Oh, I named my dog Roxy, by the way. And that's the exact thing I put on my story. Exact words and everything. I don't know what she did with the dog, and honestly, I'm terrified to know. But after that, I blocked her on absolutely everything because I came to the conclusion that she is crazy.
Story time. So me and this girl Jessica had a lot of beef together. She would always spread rumors about how I am adopted because I don't look like the rest of my family. And that was not true. But one day, I showed up to school and everyone was just staring at me in a really mean way. It's like I murdered someone. I quickly run to my best friend and ask her what's going on. She then told me that I told Jessica that she was a spoiled brat and that I beat her behind the school. And it turns out that Jessica told the whole grade. Everyone was against me. My first 2 classes passed and it felt like I've been there for a year. Everyone was still staring at me and I just couldn't get anyone to believe me. But I had enough of Jessica. During lunchtime, I went up behind her and pulled her hair as hard as I could. And it turned out Jessica had fake hair. She was using a wig. So I was so fed up with Jessica's actions that I decided to pull her hair. Best decision I have ever done. Because it turns out her hair was a wig. Yes, her hair was fake, just like her personality. Jessica turned around and looked me in the eye and said, "You're gonna pay for this." And she stormed out of the cafeteria. The next day, she shows up to school and everyone was staring at her. The reason for that is that she showed up in a bun and with a hydro flask, shell necklaces, friendship bracelets, and you name it, all of the Visco Girls stuff. Her friends told the whole school about the incident, so you better get rid of those friendship bracelets, Jessica. But since the whole school knew, one of those really hot football players came up to Jessica and told her, "You know you're not Charli D'Amelio." So one of those really hot football players came up to Jessica and told her, "Jessica, you know you're not Charli D'Amelio, right? So drop the act." Y'all should have seen Jessica's face. She got up and ran to the principal's office and told her everything that just happened. And since the principal was a little bit strict, she gathered all of the grade and was confronting us and asking us who was bullying Jessica. Me and other boys and girls stood up without hesitation and told the principal it was us. Then the principal gave all of us 1 month of detention. I actually didn't care, even though I think that she was the one who should have gotten detention, but I don't even like the girl.
In my opinion, Miraculous is a tiny bit overrated. I mean, sis, don't get me wrong, I ain't no hater, but it's the same in every freaking episode. You know, someone gets angry, then they get akumatized by Hawkmoth. Then Ladybug and Cat Noir come to the rescue and fight a little bit. And then Ladybug uses her, lucky charm, and then they win. Then Hawkmoth, at the end of every single episode, is like, I will get you next time, Cat Noir and Ladybug. Just you wait and see. Miss Girl! Well, it better be soon, Hawkmoth. It's been like 100 episodes, and you ain't even been close. Get your game face on. Get your game face on. He's a little bit of a bitch.
Since I don't go to in-person school, I stay online and do school on Zoom. I thought being online was very convenient because I could bring my tablet anywhere with me and still be in school. One time when I was on my lunch break, my mom went to get me a taco from Taco Bell because my other option was McDisgusting and God knows that I would rather die than to eat that shit. I went to go get my food from the kitchen and went up to join my class because my lunch break was over. I was eating the taco and all of a sudden my stomach started to boom boom shakalaka grumble bumble. In my head I was just like, I can just bring my tablet to the bathroom with me while I shit. So I did that. I placed my tablet against the wall facing me and I took a shit. The shit literally shot out of my asshole faster than the earth could orbit around the sun. I did the most runny gunny, faster than a bunny, bees making honey. It spent my money. I was far from done me. I wasn't funny. Chubby bunny. Outside was sunny. Extremely smelly. Wiggled like jelly. Traumatized Kelly. Welly belly Nelly. Fly in a heli. Cell phone telly. Scared my cat Shelly. Petroleum jelly. People started laughing but I thought the teacher said something funny. Then the teacher said, Sophia, you had all of lunch break to use the bathroom and you choose to not only do it during class but to also show us all too. I froze for a good 3 seconds because of how embarrassed I was. I fell face first into the floor and left the Zoom and turned my tablet off. I stayed there with my face in the floor for like 3 minutes just taking in what I just did. I didn't go back to school for like 3 weeks. When I decided to go back, people called me Sophia Diarrhea. I used to have this art teacher and everyone hated her. She was the biggest bitch, like she was literally so mean and strict, and for what? What was the reason? Anyways, one day she was really testing my limits and she had the motherfucking audacity to rip up and throw away a project I worked on for a week because she said it quote unquote wasn't good enough and that I never even try in her class. Even though I worked so hard on it and I did the best I could. I was mad at her for saying I didn't ever try and that my work wasn't good enough for her, so I was thinking to myself, shut your bubble gum dum dum skin tone chicken bone Google Chrome no homo flip phone disowned ice cream cone garden gnome extra. Chromosome metronome dimidome genome full blown monochrome student loan. Indiana Jones overgrown Flintstone X and Y chromosome friendzone Sylvester Stallone Sierra Leone AutoZone friendzone professionally seen silver patron big headed ass up. And out of anger I grabbed my backpack and said no, I am gonna leave. My way or the highway. And I stormed out of that ugly bitch's class and flipped her off on the way out. I deadass ran out of the school and walked all the way home since I lived close to the school. My mom asked me why I was home early and I told her what happened and she was surprisingly proud of me. So proud that she took me out for ice cream. I was suspended for 3 days for doing that, but oh well, fuck that bitch. So y'all remember how PE teachers used to make you run the mile in elementary school? Well boy do I have a fucking story for you. So I was out on the field running my second lap and my stomach started hurting because my fucking mom decided to buy McDonald's for breakfast. So I asked the teacher if I could go to the bathroom and that bitch ass Trump gorilla looking motherfucker said no, so I just kept running and prayed to Michael Jackson that it would go away. So I'm on my third lap and I have to fart. And on God I pulled a Nessa Barrett. So much shit came out that I could literally make a 4-course meal with it. And a chocolate fountain for dessert. I was about to fucking cry. Obviously I wasn't gonna tell my teacher that I shit myself, so I just said I felt like I was gonna throw up. So I go to the clinic literally holding my hands on my ass so nobody would see my shit. When I get to the clinic the nurse tells me to sit down, but in my head I'm like, bitch, if I sit down your chair is gonna look like the chocolate river from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I just lean on the wall until my mom comes to pick me up. When I stand up off the wall to go to the bathroom my shit is smeared on the wall and the nurse looks at it and she's like, what the fuck? Was that you? And I was like, ew, hell no, and I run to the bathroom and my whole ass had shit on it, and when my mom picked me up I started crying because she asked what smelled like dog shit and she thought she stepped in something and I had to tell her it was my ass. One time I was sitting in church and I had to fart. I knew it would be dangerous considering I have a supernatural asshole. I felt it coming and the next thing you know the building starts vibrating and the sprinklers got set off. The roof was starting to cave in and I knew it was coming. All the windows were shattering and the ground was wobbling. I did the most chunky, monkey, funky, stunky, bed bunky, tree trunky, gunky, skunky, sloppy, ploppy, moppy, gloppy, mushy, tushy, ooshy gooshy, sushi fart so powerful I needed to get stitches. The walls started to crack and everyone was screaming while hiding under their chairs praying because they thought God was coming down. The danger alarm went off and everyone was calling their family saying they loved them. The roof finally caved in causing more destruction and my whole splitting fart finally stopped. Everyone got out from under the chairs and looked around. There was rubble everywhere and even the brick walls was cracked. They were wondering where God is and I had to act concerned with them. Anyways, my fart made it on the news and was titled as California's most deadliest earthquake. Little did they know it was my ripper ass.